Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I did a lot of homework on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hopefully, a lot of that stuff will stick in my head and be able to be regurgitated into this camera right now because I've had a lot of stuff go on in my day, and some of that stuff may not be fresh in my mind. But what I can say is, I saw a lot of them. The Minnesota Timberwolves and my eyeballs have seen each other plenty. And what I know is that the Minnesota Timberwolves are a very strange basketball club right now. They've beaten teams that they probably shouldn't have beaten. They lost to teams they probably shouldn't have lost to in weird ways. Like, for example, uh, Charlotte came into their house. It was unfortunately, I think it was the game that LaMelo got hurt in. Beat them. Beat them in their house. But then they go in the Clippers arena and beat the Clippers. They went into Golden State. They did lose that game, but had like a fantastic run on the end where they got a bunch of steals, which is something that's going to be very key. Uh, they had a game against the Dallas Mavericks where they won. It was the infamous game where Kyrie and Luka were trying to get a playoff at the end, passing to each other, couldn't get nothing off. It's just like they're winning games they're not supposed to win, and they're losing games that they're not supposed to lose. For example, Washington, they had a game against the Wizards they lost to, and so it's like you're losing to the Wizards, you're losing to the Charlotte Hornets, but you're beating the Clippers, you're almost beating the Warriors, you're beating Dallas and Kyrie. It's just a weird basketball team that is coming off a very, very good win on the road against the Clippers. Of course, here at this building that we'll be in tonight. Now, the question is this the situation where you say the Minnesota Timberwolves got their one little win for the week and that's it, back to losing? Or is it the beginning of something? The Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe, forced 25 steals. No, I got it all wrong. Let me get my words right. 25 turnovers. I believe it was 14 steals that turned into 25 turnovers. I think they also had 8 blocks in the game. Flat out, everybody on the Clippers got their pockets picked by everybody on the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was just plain and simple. Defense was key. So if you're paying attention to the Minnesota Timberwolves, you understand that right now is not the time to be pedestrian with the basketball around them. Don't have issues dribbling the ball around them. Guys like Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jordan McLaughlin, uh, Jaden McDaniels, Slow Mo, Kyle Anderson, um, Torian Prince. They're all playing well. Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert is back. They're all playing well. That's the thing. But what does that actually mean when you consider the games that they've been playing? They had been losing it. So if you want to just take the sample size from the game that they just played, the thing that you want to pay most attention to is understanding that Rudy Gobert is occupying the paint. They are not pulling him off the floor very much. He's down there. They'll throw Luka Garza in there a little bit, which is a center that I like a lot who could shoot the ball some. But Rudy's getting big minutes, and he's playing good ball. He's in good shape, and he's just doing what it is that he does. He's not going to score too much in the paint consistently, but he's going to rim protect. He's going to rebound like a madman. So that's a big body, and obviously, I don't think it's necessary to say that we need to play our bigs tonight. I don't think it's necessary to say that we can't afford to run smaller lineups this evening. It's just not going to work, you know. So this game is going to be at 7:30 this evening Pacific time, and given the fact that we're going to go up against Anthony Edwards, and the fact that it's going to be in this building, I'd imagine he's going to want to play well. This is a superstar level talent. Just made his first All-Star team this past year, and I know that the way that he's shooting the ball right now, it's one of those situations where if you do not double team him, if you don't get out to him, he can do the same thing Ja Morant did to you. This is a team, Minnesota, that has some of the same elements that they bring to the table: rim protection, the ability to break you down with that particular player. A guy like Mike Conley who can also do a lot of floor generalship and hit shots in the corner for them. A guy like Slow Mo is really involved right now, and that guy, the thing about Kyle Anderson is he is going to do a little of everything. And the way that they got him working right now after making the trade to get him, he's comfortably in their rotation, and they're getting the most out of him. So we're gonna have to be very careful not to allow him to have a big night. shooting the ball, driving, passing, rebounding, all of it. He's a problem. And as I mentioned, a guy by the name of Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince is a guy who is a good role player in this league. And usually when he plays against the Lakers, he plays really well, man. And that's something that's starting to become a trend that I'm starting to notice. No matter what team he's on, usually when he's coming up against us, he's shooting well, he's dunking the ball, all kinds of stuff like that. So I just think it's going to be a night where you pay close attention to that Minnesota Timberwolves bench. They're hit or miss. Not the most overly talented bench, but they are feisty, man. They got some feisty, spirited players on that bench. You think of a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's been itching for playing time. He's been traded around for the past couple years, and is finally in the rotation where the coach there actually is willing to play him. And that is not good for opposing teams because he's a good two-way player. He can steal the ball from you and then go down there and score on you as well. I don't know what the issue was, why he wasn't utilized in these other areas. But I look at that situation almost like I look at Bol situation. It's obviously a different level player, but I know he can play. I know teams will let him in and out of their organization, and I know they're going to regret it. Same thing I said about Christian Wood. Christian Wood was on like 5 or 6 teams before he found himself on the Detroit Pistons. All 5 and 6 of those teams should have held on to him. And I think the same about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So he's in their rotation. He's in lineups next to Austin Rivers. So you got to deal with that feisty nature of what it is they do. You bring in Mike Conley. They all have that ability to turn defense into offense. Jordan McLaughlin. They're all looking to take the ball from you. So look for weak side circumstances. A guy like Jordan McLaughlin was able to catch the Clippers multiple times in the weak side off of just stealing the ball from guys like Paul George and Norman Powell or what have you. So I would imagine that because they had that type of success against the Clippers, they're going to probably be looking to do some of the similar type of stuff to us, just allowing their defense to kind of propel them to wherever they're headed. Mike Conley is really playing good ball, man. They picked him up and replaced him with D'Angelo Russell, who of course is now with us, but will not be playing tonight. So we're going to have to pay attention to the fact that Mike Conley has been making some really good plays, hitting his shots, and just ultimately bringing a certain balance to their lineup. And then as he kind of isn't looking to really do too much, it allows them to kind of center and focus things on Anthony Edwards and allowing him to control more of the ball. So Anthony Edwards, this is a high-level talent. Sometimes he can be a little inefficient. As I said, he's shooting the ball well as of late. He's one of those guys who if he sees 1 or 2 fall, it's nothing for him to hit 8, 9, or 10. As he continues to ascend, I think he's going to be one of the best players in the world. He reminds me of a young Michael Jordan on the offensive end. Now, defensively, I haven't paid enough attention to him to know if he can even, play D like that. I don't know. But what I do know is on the offensive side of the ball, he looks like MJ. When he shoots, he looks like MJ. And he has the ability to get real hot like MJ too. So you need to very much pay attention to the young all-star Anthony Edwards, as he is also someone who's going to jump out of the gym just like a Ja Morant. In fact, he might be even more explosive in some ways. So, I'm super high on Anthony Edwards. He's going to be one of the best shooting guards in the game going forward. And you're going to have to scheme ways to defend against him. Now, the good thing is you don't have to deal with Karl Anthony Towns, who's still out with injury. And I don't know if he's even coming back this season. I honestly don't know. But they got plenty of size with Rudy Gobert, plenty of size with Naz Reid, who's coming off of a 30.5 block, 3 steals. He had an all-star game against the Golden State Warriors in an effort that did not succeed in a win, but he was balling. And you guys know I've talked about Naz Reid for years. This ain't new. When I first started talking about basketball on this channel, he was one of the people that I was talking about in the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I always saw come in for Karl Anthony Towns when he was hurt and play excellent with his minutes. And then when Karl come back, he get shoved back down to the bench and play 15 minutes a game. And it's like, he's always been better than that. He's just been stuck in Minnesota. And so as he's developed in that role, Karl keep going down with injuries, and he's able to get showcased every season. So this is yet another one of those situations. And he's just getting better and better and better and better. And I just know he's going to continue to be able to carry that role into other situations, or Minnesota stays wise and just keeps him in that situation since he continues to thrive in it. But I just know he can do more with more. And so he was going to be somebody that we're going to have to throw people at. Of course, we got the people to kind of help ourselves in that situation if we play them. They're going to have to battle it out with him. Wenyen Gabriel, Mo Bamba, hopefully. And, of course, Anthony Davis, if he'll be available, which we think he may. And, of course, Vanderbilt, who used to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with several other guys on this team. As we mentioned, D'Angelo Russell, who's not expected to be available at all tonight. But Malik Beasley and Vanderbilt, yeah, they know Minnesota. They were on this team last year. They were part of the infamous playoff moment where Patrick Beverley was running around like they had won a championship. It was a big deal for their franchise, and they needed that win to propel them forward and to feel good about where they're headed. So they moved on for some guys, mortgaged everything to get Rudy Gobert, and Vanderbilt was a part of that trade. So was Beasley. They sent them boys to Utah. And, of course, Utah didn't have any interest in really doing anything other than trying to go after Wembanyama. So they didn't see the fruit in keeping those guys on tab. And for whatever reason, they gave away Vanderbilt. I don't know why. I thought Utah should have kept him. I thought Minnesota should have kept him. But nevertheless, they let him go. He's with us, and we're happy. So at this point now, we're expecting him to have just like everybody else who plays against their old team, a desire to get the victory, a desire to prove the other team wrong for getting rid of them. So, we don't know these players. We don't know our guys, even though we're learning to appreciate them. We don't know how they handle these type of situations, what their spirit is in regards to, I got to get back in my old team or I don't care, or whatever. We don't know. We're going to find out. D'Angelo Russell let us know immediately after the previous game that he will not be playing in this one. So, that's just what it is. They're going to play his injury the right way and the smart way. So we're just going to move forward in that way. The way I look at it is, if it was me, I'm playing in that game. We'll rest the next one because I'm going to beat my old team. But that's just how I move. I'm different. For the meantime, that's what it is. We got to go without D'Lo, go without, obviously, Bron, who's going to be out for 3 weeks or will be reevaluated in 3 weeks, which probably means it's going to be a little more than that. But, this team, in my opinion, is built to score, built to defend, built to rebound, pretty much built to have continuity if they can keep certain players healthy without LeBron James. They should be able to do all the things you need to do to win a regular season basketball game without him. Now, once you get to the playoffs, you'll need him. We talk about that. But to win these regular season matchups, either you're going to win them or not. That's what it really comes down to. Can we get the shooting numbers that LeBron James otherwise would give us from other players on this team? I think we can. I think we can get them 30 points out of other people. I think it's been proven that we got plenty of guys who can get the shot they need, whether he's on the floor or not. Now, he is someone who helps us a lot. And when he is on the floor for the good 36, 35 minutes he's down there, he makes life easier on these other guys in regards to how they get their shot and how much scoring you can expect for them to give you based on the type of defenses that are going to be pointed at him while they're down there. So he not being down there makes it much more difficult for a lot of those guys to get their own shot. But even so, because a lot of those guys are threats, they too create opportunities to give space to one another. So it's not like you're going to have defenses now turning and giving triple teams and quadruple teams to a guy like Austin Reeves. No, he's going to have a different person guarding him potentially, and the help may be a little different because it's not coming off of Bron. But at the end of the day, once guys get used to playing this way, it should not be difficult for them to play a good NBA game in a regular season every night. The roster's meant for that. So essentially what I'm telling you is I still think the chances of us getting to our goal and ultimately making the play-in tournament pretty good. If D'Angelo can get back. If D'Angelo can't get back, I think we're looking at a structural flaw in our roster that makes it so that we only have one point guard, one true pass-first point guard. Now, we also have Austin Reeves who can be pass-first as well, so I feel good about his pass-first ability with Schroeder's pass-first ability and the other players on the team who has the intangibles with players to kind of make plays off of one another in a way. You can rely upon other playmakers doing secondary playmaking, like little Lonnie Walker stuff, Troy Brown, Anthony Davis will get a couple assists. Other secondary playmaking can be fine for your continuity so long as you have a Dennis Schroeder, um, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves on the floor. But, given the fact that we do not have the ability to rely upon those players' health, it's very important that the Lakers find that continuity piece somewhere else. Now, from what I'm finding, seems like Goran Dragic is on his way somewhere. I forgot where they say he was going. I don't want to lose my train of thought, but he's signing somewhere else, it seems, maybe the Bucks. If we're not going after him, I do believe calling up Scottie Pippen Jr. is the smartest thing the Los Angeles Lakers can do for themselves. Because at least if Dennis Schroeder, who's probable for tonight, but we know he rolled his ankle nasty in the last game, if he, for some reason, has some setbacks or is a step slow, and Austin Reeves has some type of setback with his hamstring, which he's fresh off of, at least we can go to a traditional point guard, even though we don't know what to do because we ain't played him all season. At least we can go to a guy like Scottie Pippen for some sense of passing, playmaking ability. Because without that, you're going to be relying on secondary and playmakers to make plays for one another, and it's going to turn into a situation where we're going to go on some serious scoring droughts, and the plays are going to be ugly down there, and guys are going to be shooting the ball without passing it at all, stuff like that. It's going to get really, really bad in terms of our basketball IQ, in my humble opinion, if we don't have a pass-first player on the floor at all times. Now, the issue was never a problem when we had Russell Westbrook on the team, because at the end of the day, for better or for worse, you knew he was hunting out assists. So he was going to get your big men the ball. He was going to get the shooters the ball if there were any shooters at all. He was going to make plays for other people. And then, of course, you had LeBron James down there. Never had that problem. And, of course, if you got a guy like Patrick Beverley, Dennis Schroeder also in the rotation, they're point guards. Patrick Beverley, even though I don't look at him as a point guard, he's been playing the position his whole career. So you're not going to have continuity issues if for some reason somebody goes down. He was forced to play that role with the Clippers for many years. So he'll do it. We got rid of all those people. And now it's like we only have Dennis Schroeder. We were counting on D'Lo. But, again, D'Lo's health is not to be relied upon, man. In a good season, he might give you 70 games a season, but that's a good season. Some years you're only gonna get 45 games out of him, man. So these are things that you have to understand when you're thinking about re-signing him as well. Just health, that's all. Just like AD. So when you're considering that, it's only Dennis Schroeder. Now we're asking him to play through injury. It's like I don't know, man. Not when you can very easily just find yourself picking up a guy in the buyout market that can pass the ball a little bit, or just calling up your very own rookie who's killing it in the G League and giving him an opportunity to do this for you when you really need him right now. So, with him having the Scottie Pippen name, you would think the Lakers would see a marketing opportunity and call him up. I don't know why they ain't salivating at the idea of that, but I don't know. I just don't understand it. But nevertheless, I think we need the piece. That's why it's important that we consider what our team is going to look like if for some reason Austin rolls an ankle, Dennis has a setback with his. We're gonna be running some bull crap out there. I'm just telling you right now. We better start adapting some box coverage type of plays, some triangle offensive principles or something. Because if we don't, I'm telling you, our goal is going to be shot, and it's not going to be because of any other reason than we just don't have enough playmaking. So we're not too far away from that problem. That's why I'm harping on it so much. But hopefully it doesn't rear its ugly head tonight. Like I said, Dennis will play. Austin is fine. So we're just gonna go out there and run. We'll see them try to duke it out, and we expect those guys to be on the floor a lot. So yeah, man. I like what we have going on tonight, but I am poised for a very, very good defensive and hard-fought game against a team that we're pretty much right there with, just like everybody else in the Western Conference. Given the fact the Lakers, I believe, are in 11th place or 10th place, depending on how things are slotted. It's only a game and a half between 8 and 13 or something like that. So we need to win. Minnesota is right there with us. They're the team that I think is closest to us in regards to the standings. They're the team that we've already lost a game to this year early on in the season. So, we need to capture this victory tonight. Understand the urgency for ourselves to take care of our own destiny, especially since we have time with strengths, and really, it comes down to this: earn your Bron. Because honestly, if we don't win enough games, he ain't coming back. It's that simple. You're gonna have to earn a right to ever see him play on your roster again. And when I say ever, I mean for the rest of the season, and everything else is, it's up to Genie. But I think it's a good chance, that it doesn't. We don't see him again if the Lakers don't win. So I think it's important that the Lakers do win and start that process by taking the Minnesota Timberwolves extremely seriously at home. We are the home team here. We are obviously not the Clippers. So there should be no reason why they have an opportunity to get 14 steals on us and 8 blocks. I know they're a good defensive team. They got Rudy Gobert, so the blocks are coming. But we got Anthony Davis. We got Jared Vanderbilt. We have Mo Bamba. We have, Rui Hachimura, who had 3 blocks in the last game. We've talked a lot about how I didn't like his weak side defense in theory, based on the fact that I don't look at him as a real great option in that way at the 4 spot. But 3 blocks, he's improving. He's getting more comfortable on both sides of the floor, and he's helping his team in a lot of ways. And I just want to see us continue to empower him to do what it is he's been doing, and just accept the fact that his game is a little different because he's from somewhere else. Don't stereotype him. Don't look at him like he's supposed to be an American player. He's not. He's got his own game. He's going to attack from the mid range. He's not going to have crazy handle, you know what I mean? But he's going to rebound well. He's going to be strong. He's going to get to the line. And I'm very happy with the player, man. I want to continue to see what else he can do. When I consider the fact that we have LeBron James out, nobody needs to be used more so in regards to trying to simulate size advantages that Bron would otherwise put us in position to have than him. And when you stick him next to, certain players, the right players, sky's the limit in regards to what the unit can do. So I'm extremely excited about Rui Hachimura. I recognize that he had a phenomenal fourth quarter, and I don't think we win that game without his efforts. Last game was a Dennis Schroeder game. DS came out of there with 25 points, played through the rolled ankle, did some other things as well defensively. Of course, the continuity stuff that he's forced to do as our point guard. The fact that he played through that injury just speaks to the heart that he has and how much dedication he has to what it is that we're doing and what it is that he has to do for himself in regards to getting his contract. So I'm very happy with DS. He isn't a perfect player. We pointed out some of the stuff that we don't like about the player, but at the end of the day, when we need somebody to step up, he often does. Especially when people are out, he comes through. So we've won some games off of him. I think the last game you could say was won off of him, along with the efforts of others. But him stepping up and being the big star player that we need, giving us the bulk of our scoring and the bulk of our everything when guys are out, it's invaluable, man. It's absolutely invaluable. So his respect is due, once again, even though the inconsistencies can be frustrating. But everybody ain't going to be perfect. Everybody ain't going to be no superstar. But they will come through for you. And that's what's happening with Dennis Schroeder. So we appreciate the good stuff that he does. And everybody else too. Everybody that does those things. Same thing for everybody. Troy Brown's the same way. He's a young player. That's what I want to remind everybody with Troy Brown. He looks older. You expect from the, he looks like he's 26, 27. Nah, he's only like 22, 23 years old. We got to look at him as a young player when he's inconsistent. And we also got to look at the way that he pops and say, this is a young player doing this. 14 rebounds. Inconsistent games from young players, that's expected. That's how teams get lulled to sleep thinking guys are busts because they look at young players having inconsistencies and don't trust them and interpret that as them not being good. It's just them developing. So it's frustrating. But every young player has to work through the inconsistencies of their own game. And so he's going to have to work through that. The game before last, he was trash. Last game, he was one of the best players on the floor, especially in the first half. We couldn't do what we did without all of his defensive intangibles and rebounding and the scoring that he gave us as well. So 19 points, I believe it was, a double-double with a bunch of blocks and steals or whatever it was. I don't remember the stats, but he gave us everything necessary to help us win. And so Troy Brown, we appreciate you as well. We hope to get good play out of you tonight, especially since you're going to be matched up against some pretty talented people tonight. I think about possibly him being matched up with Slow-Mo. I think of him matched up possibly with Anthony Edwards. I want to see It's gonna be tough because we got to deal with Jordan McLaughlin, not Jordan McLaughlin, McDaniels, Jaden McDaniels. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the coach wants to do in regards to putting Vanderbilt on whom and when. Because Vanderbilt, in my opinion, if it's up to me, I'm sticking them on Anthony Edwards all night long. Use all your fouls. That's your assignment, bro. Like that's how I'm looking at it. Because I just watched Ja tear us apart in the third quarter, and we didn't even try him on Ja. And in the fourth quarter, he was on Ja, and Ja wasn't getting nothing on him, getting nothing off of him. I think this is one of those situations where you clearly see he can guard those type of dudes. And given the fact that Anthony Edwards isn't a small person, I feel very good about putting Vanderbilt on him. So I'm curious to see if coach is going to start doing that. With everything being as desperate as it is, I want my best defender on their best player. Now, there were circumstances where I saw Vanderbilt letting people slide, not being as great defensively as I want to see him be. So he's still a developing player himself. And just because a guy's intangibly great in certain things does not mean that they still don't have more development to do within what it is that they're great at. And I think that's what that is. We're going to find out he's going to get cooked sometimes and stuff like that. But it does not make me feel any less confident that putting him on them guys is probably going to be better for us than maybe putting somebody else that we would otherwise match up on those players. So I think we learned a lesson. I hope I learned a lesson. I certainly did. I hope our coach learned a lesson in regards to letting superstars eat, especially when you need to win. Stop letting these dudes cook, man. Okay, we talk a lot about how we defensively tend to cater our defenses in a way that lets superstars succeed. Whether we're doing it by accident or otherwise, if we want to succeed, we got to find another strategy, because superstars eating turns other players into even more threats in a lot of cases, because now they're just parking it, able to catch and shoot while we're getting cooked. So I think it comes down to a situation where if we're going to go up against Anthony Edwards and he starts getting off like Ja did, we need to start putting a whole wall around him and let other people beat us. Let somebody else beat us, man. Turn Jordan McLaughlin into a 30-point scorer if he can pull it off. Turn Mike Conley into a 30-point scorer if he can pull it off. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. But don't let Anthony Edwards go off for 45 points and he only had Austin Reeves on him all night. And then we walk away saying, well, we played pretty good. No, we didn't. Not if that was a strategy. Not if that's all we pulled off. So these are the type of things I want to pay attention to. Hopefully, Malik Beasley's shot will be falling tonight. He's somebody who played for the Minnesota Timberwolves for a couple years. Had some really good games there, obviously. So, again, we want to see what type of heart guys got. Are you interested in beating your old team? Do you miss them and want to return there someday and would dare not play against them because you want them to know that you love them? These are things we're going to be looking for tonight. Play well against that team. Show us you with that purple and gold, because they trying to get in the playoffs at our expense. Okay? And if you're a Laker, you need to be on our side right now. And I'm not just talking to him. I'm talking to the whole team. Including D'Angelo Russell, whom I would love to see play tonight if he has any good health in that foot to go. If he got 20 minutes to give us, I think he should do it, because we're playing for our playoff lives right now. And I don't know about y'all, but I do not want my belief in my team to be leaning on whether or not a 38-year-old guy is going to be out there. I don't. Not when I got a whole bunch of dudes that can block shots, rebound, fly, shooting shots, all kinds of stuff. No. Lean on Lonnie a little more tonight. Lonnie Walker's been very good for us. Got to continue to empower him somehow throughout all the midst of the shooting guard rotation stuff. He needs to be put in rotations that don't have him playing small forward and power forward, coach. Stuff that's going to have him playing the shooting guard position and allow him to fly. Lonnie Skywalker, that's exactly what he is. He's going to get to the rim and he's going to dunk it emphatically. And if we allow him to dunk the ball in stride, we're going to feel real good about how many points he's going to be able to accumulate for our team. So I want to see Lonnie Walker in situations where he's not asked to be a lockdown defender, not asked to be weak side for a small person, not asked to be a power forward or none of that crap. Put him in a position to score the ball as a shooting guard, and we can get the most out of Lonnie Walker every single night. So, this is why I can talk about the Lakers all day, because all of these players are good, man. That's what we have right now. We have a team full of dudes that can get their own in other situations. They just happen to be here And so they should be able to get their own here too. Um, I think about a guy like Austin Reeves. He's playing some great basketball. He hasn't missed a shot, but 3 shots in 3 games is what I was able to understand. The man has missed 3 field goals in 3 games. He was perfect 2 games ago, and he was perfect in the last game, 3 games ago, and perfect in the last game. And so this is a situation where we got to continue to empower him to shoot that ball, shooting threes, mid range, driving at the rim, whatever it is. Up his shooting emphasis, up his scoring emphasis, because he's not missing. So obviously he needs to be taking more shots. So these are the things I just want our coach to look at. Beasley's been missing more. Maybe he should shoot less. These type of things, we just got to do these things as a team. We got to strategize these things as a team so that we can get the most out of ourselves when we need to win. And that's whether Anthony Davis is on the floor or not. Look, I know Anthony Davis wants to play. There's a lot being said about the last game, and they said essentially they're going to shut him down. It sounds like the Lakers are making executive decisions in regards to what they're doing. First, it was 2 weeks in regards to LeBron James' health. Now they've expanded it out to 3. The word is the Lakers, and I don't know how much truth this is, but told Anthony Davis, no, you will not play in this previous game that we just had against the OKC Thunder. He wanted to go, and they told him he couldn't, and that's why the confusion with Darvin Hams and what he said was said to have taken place. That's why the confusion was as it was, because AD wanted to play, and the Lakers said, nah, we ain't going to let you. So I don't know how that makes the superstar feel. I don't know if that is true, but that's what they're allowing us to believe. So it is what it is, man. I'm happy that players want to play through injury, and I think we need to be, honestly, we have all the time in the world to rest. And I know it's important to be health conscious. And again, I know I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, because being health conscious is something that I lean on most times. But when your circumstances is that if you have to win, it really does come down to what is it that we've been doing? What have we been doing? What did I get hurt for? Like, you know what I'm saying? If not to try to put ourselves in a position to achieve this team goal. So if guys can play through being hurt, which is different than playing through injury, playing through being hurt, then that's what we need them to do. If it's not going to be to the detriment of the pain of whatever it is itself, it ain't going to turn into an injury. You know what I mean? And that's the key, is to not allow it to. So with LaMelo Ball going down with the season-ending ankle and having to have the surgery, you just want to be careful with ankle injuries and things of that nature. But you just have to ask guys, can you go? and if so, will you go? And so in situations where the team is telling Anthony Davis not to, it's wise, it's the right thing, and it's frustrating. It just is what it is. So the team's constructed to be able to get the stuff it needs without Anthony Davis too. And so those guys are going to have to go out there and do that. Now, is it constructed to do all that without Anthony Davis, Bron James, and D'Angelo Russell? Probably not. But we still was able to get a win against OKC in that situation without their superstar. Timberwolves going to have a superstar. So hopefully this means AD is in fact going to play tonight. Last I checked, he was questionable. So I don't know. I just obviously would not know. So this is where we at, y'all. The Lakers need to win every game they're in, just like everybody else in the Western Conference does. Minnesota Timberwolves are a team that did defensive things in the last game and probably going to look to do defensive things tonight. Feisty dudes on that bench. Jordan McLaughlin, from what I understand, he's from LA. I didn't know that until today. Anybody from LA is probably either going to beat the Lakers or be a part of the Lakers or both. Neither, I don't know. But we got to be ready. We got to be ready for him to play well, because he's going to. I see that coming. Austin Rivers, we know how fiery, how feisty he is. It's playoff time. His personality is going to be that of, I'm going to do a little more than probably necessary to get under somebody's skin. It's just who he is. It's who he's been, especially in times like this. His team needs to win, just like our team needs to win. It's a game in Los Angeles. I noticed he's coming. Now, whether or not he's going to play well or not, who knows? But will his imprint be on this game? 1,000%. Be ready for Austin Rivers. His imprint will be on this basketball game. So that's what needs to be said. But yeah, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, who had a big game against the Clippers, had a lot of big games lately. If you don't think he's going to be somebody that's going to be flying off of the screen, you better know it. Him and Vanderbilt were Minnesota's X factor. It was why they were so dominant last year and was able to make the playoff run they made, in my humble opinion. You couple that with what they had shooting the ball with Carl, and obviously with Patrick running around doing so much to complement them. When you brought that Timberwolves bench in the game, Vanderbilt and McLaughlin were really the problem. They were the problem. Fortunately enough, we got Vanderbilt. Problem is they still got McDaniels. So when you deal with McDaniels, I probably said McLaughlin, he's a problem too. You might as well throw him in there. If I said his name, you might as well. But nevertheless, it's one of those situations where you're dealing with a defensive team when that bench come in. And when the starters are in, of course, with Rudy Gobert being a defensive mind. So Anthony Davis is important, man. Vanderbilt's important. Wenyen Gabriel, we're going to need those guys to play well. And we're going to need our coach to play them. Bamba, play him. Please, bro. We're not going to be able to get away with some of the stuff we've been able to get away with if we don't discover, once again, how to guard the interior. You know, I've talked a lot about how great we were on the interior, we're the best interior defensive team. No, we were not. We absolutely are not. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I am going to revamp that by saying we look good on paper, but we got to get better at executing what it is that we look like we should be able to do as a strength, and that's interior defense. We got to be able to stop people from scoring in the paint. The Clippers let these guys score 60 points in their paint. The Dallas Mavericks, I don't remember how many. It was a lot, though. It's Rudy Gobert. It's Naz Reid. It's Anthony Edwards driving at the rim. They're going to get there, and they're going to score a lot. So we need Anthony Davis, Vanderbilt, and those guys to rim protect tonight, because they are going to try to score in the paint, and that is all there is to it. So you're dealing with Rudy, man. length is key. You're dealing with Rudy Gobert. I know he ain't a monster scoring the ball, but he can get a couple hammer dunks, and those can turn into a couple more. And you'll look up, he'll have 24, 25 points. You don't want that. So these are things that we're thinking greatly about. Him and Naz Reid, they're going to rebound, offensive rebound like crazy. Naz Reid, at least 3 offensive rebounds should be expected from him, if not more. This is why we need to use that size. Hachimura, all those guys, they're going to be important tonight. You know? So I like our team, man. We got plenty of length, plenty of size if we use it, shooting ability, guys who can help others, guys who are riding a hot hand right now like Austin Reeves and Lonnie Walker. There should be no reason we have a shortage of scoring tonight. There should be no reason why a team that's like Minnesota, who is to their core, honestly, mediocre, okay, they shouldn't beat us. They shouldn't beat us. They've made some moves that they believe has helped improve their team. I don't know that those moves improve their team, but I know they are improved basketball teams into making those moves. I will say that. I think they're a little better. And just look for the comeback, you know. They, like I said, against the Golden State Warriors, steals down the stretch. They put on a clinic in the last 3 minutes of the game, forcing the Golden State Warriors to hit a lot of clutch shots when they really shouldn't have been forced to at all, with the score being as it was with like 10 minutes to go in the fourth. So this is a team that has energy to come back at you, you know. But they also had the ability to lay an egg for no reason. When you think that they're going to run over a team, they get run over. So I'm hoping that the mediocre side of the Minnesota Timberwolves will come out tonight, and that we will ultimately be able to knock them off like normal, basically. But I don't think that under the circumstances, that's something you can prepare for. What you actually should prepare for is a barn burner dogfight based on how both of these two teams have been playing their last couple games, with a lot of heart and a lot of urgency as it pertains to the schedule and where they stand trying to make the playoffs. This is a playoff game, ladies and gentlemen. Just like every game, but this one more so than most. The atmosphere should be ridiculous, even though it's here in LA. You know how we can be. It ain't going to be like a college atmosphere, but we'll be awake for this one. And, you know, I think as the game progresses, depending on how the ebbs and flows of the game goes, you might end up having one of those games where you're on the edge of your seat. So that's what I'm hoping to see, man. I'm hoping to see a good game. Well, we need to win, so no, I hope it's a blowout. But nevertheless, I want to see us win, play well, and I'm looking for murky basketball, defensive basketball, ugly basketball. Because that's just the way both of these two teams have been playing. So that's pretty much the thought, man. That's what I got to say. I'm expecting intense playoff atmosphere. The Los Angeles Lakers must win every game. I don't care who's suiting up for this team, dang it. If we're serious about everything that led up to this moment, including making trades to win. We got to not lose our confidence just because guys are going down with injury. That cannot be our mentality. We can't stop fighting just because it looks as if there's not a whole lot left for us to fight for. There's plenty. We just need to discover that we're that team. So that's what I got to say, man. Trust your length, Darvin Ham. If you don't, you're going to hear from me, brother. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. Wow.